What's up, guys? It's Bunfreak here, back with another video, and today we're gonna go over the next Ruby character, Weiss Schnee. We're gonna go over the same thing same thing we did with Ruby. We're gonna go over her normals, her skills, her distortion, and her astral, and how to play her. So without further ado, we can get these videos rolling. Let's get into it. Weiss Schnee is she's more of a person who pokes at your opponent, as her 5A has pretty good range. It does pretty good damage too. You see it can go straight forward, and it has a really good range. So it will whiff sometimes if you hit like the edge of her sword, so just watch out for that. That's her A auto combo. Her B is also a really good move for range and poking at your opponent. This is also her anti-air, just standing B. It does hit down, but it's still a really good anti-air. This move mostly is to start your combos, as it does do air launcher if you do the full auto combo, and you can get into some crazy stuff with it. Her jumping A is a little poke, more for an air-to-air situation. You really can't use it to jump in at all unless you're just gonna delay like I just did right here. It's not that good for for jumping in, but for air-to-air, this is probably one of the best air-to-air situations that has a lot of range, and it's just really fast. Her standing B is her overhead though, that you want to use when you're jumping in, as it aims down, and you can also combo into another one, which is really good, so you can get 2 hits before you land, and it has a lot of arcs down, so people even who are crouching, let's have Ruby crouching, it will hit them. If you're all over here, it's gonna hit them, so that's really good. Her 2A is pretty good. It's one of the normal ones where you can hit it 3 times. It's pretty quick, hits 3 lows down, so if you just want to throw that out pretty quickly. Her down B is really good too, as it has a lot of range and it pokes at your opponent too. As I said before, Weiss is a poking character, and you can really poke with this move. Her 2C is also a really good move, as it's a sweep that is has pretty good range, and not as good as the B down 2. My bad, 2B, but it's a really good move either way. Her 2C is really good for sweeps and, you know, just the normal factor. Other than that, let's get into her assist. Her 6P is a pretty slow projectile. It's not the best projectile, but it's a projectile mind effect, so you know now if you have Weiss on your team, you can throw out a projectile. This isn't really the best for going in, but you can use it just like to have more resonance level and stuff like that. Her 5P is a combo continuer, so if you hit it and knock them to the wall, you can do something simple like this. It's really good just for that. It's not really good to throw out because it doesn't go as far. If you whiff, if it whiffs, it goes half screen. But if you do hit, it would do more hits and end up in a wall bounce, which is really good in the corner because a wall bounce will help you so much in the whole combo. Her 4P is more of an anti-air. She does a step forward, which is pretty good if someone tries to jump in, because you can hit them before they get close to you, and it knocks them into the air. It knocks them really high, and I don't know if Weiss actually can get a combo after this, but no, Weiss is in the air, so you cannot get a combo after this, but it's still really good for people who are trying to jump in, as she steps in front of you and then knocks them up in the air. Now, since we've gone through that, let's go over her skills. Of course, to go back is her lunge move, where she uses her glyphs and launches forward. She has 3 different variations of this. She has, of course, to go back in A, which is a normal slash. Doesn't go as far as the other versions, but it's still pretty good. Of course, to go back B is her other version that does more damage and adds an extra hit, which is better for recomboing as you're in the air, and you can start your something like that. Throw your assist in. You have more time other than something like this that does 1 hit and leave them near the ground. Mind the fact though that B and A are 2 different speeds. Their starter speeds are different. A has a faster starter speed and B has a slower starter speed, but it does more damage and leaves them for more combos. C is the better version of both, as it has the same speed as A and does more damage. so it leaves them pretty far away, which is really, really good. And also you can recombo after this too, if I actually hit it. Something special about these moves is that if you hold the button down, you can cancel or fake out the move. So if you're like, if you've been doing it in a block string every single time and your opponent's ready for it, you can fake it and then go into like another block string, or just gonna make your opponent react weirdly. Just to mind the fact, the C version cannot be held, so you have to go with A or B if you want to feint it. Her quarter circle forward is her projectile that she has as her assist. A, B, and C are both all different versions. A is a low. They all do the same amount of damage though, but A is just a lower version, B is just a higher version, and C does more damage as it shoots 2 glyphs from behind your opponent. There is a special technique with this move, but I'll get into it later because that's a big part of her and I don't want to have it short and sweet. Her goes to go back and normals is her jump in attack that you normally end off combos with after you have your launcher. This move is really good to jump in. Quarter circle back A is a shorter version that strikes your opponent fast. Quarter circle for B goes more farther and has more damage. And quarter circle B, quarter circle C, quarter circle back actually, quarter circle back B, C, not B. Quarter circle back C is a move that does multiple hits and is really good for recomboing. Like this, you can end your combos really, really well with this. So if you wanna just try to, if you're ending your combos, you can do something like this and then call your assistant after you're done with that. Now, since we have done all our skills, we can go into that special technique I was talking about with her projectiles. Her projectiles have these special gravity glyphs that she uses in her show, where she can affect the gravity of anyone who touches it. In this game, she only can affect herself. So holding the button down, quarter circle forward, and B, C, or A, no matter which one you do, you can do it, turns them into the gravity glyphs. Now, they give her special properties to her dash attack and her air dash attack, which is really, really good. When you go past this, so if I activate the A version, when you hold up and one of the buttons, they all do different techniques, no matter which one version of these do. So if I do something like that, if I held up and one of the other buttons, I would do something different. So let's say if I do up and A, I do a mix up or cross up, and I go to the back side if you're close enough. If you're not close, you just stay in front. But if I was like really close like this and then did it, it will cross them up, which is a really, really good move. Remember, you have to set these up, so you can't really like put it in a block string, but you can set them up and it's really good. Her quarter circle forward, if you do up and B, you get something like this. And just relaunch. This is one of the weaker ones, as it just delays your attack, and if you do it fast enough, you won't actually hit your attack. But this move is alright, and you get some weird combos doing that. In my opinion, her up C is probably her best version. As it does multi-hitting, you can get a recombo after it, and if you're up high enough when you do it, you can get you can recombo it with yourself. You also can do these in the air. If you do her back like that and you hold up and one of the buttons, you can get something like that and go for an overhead. That's what her main gimmick is that she can use her glyphs. She sets them up and then she does some crazy stuff with it. These are really also good for the corner, as if you can like set them up and do cross-ups, overheads, or lows, or something like that. Recombo, if I have something like this and I go into this, I can get more extra damage, or if I'm already in the combo, I can do something. Let's see if I can do something. If I actually hit that, but I'm not the best Weiss player, but that's what her glyphs are mostly used for. Now, she also has one more special skill that most people don't have, is a down skill. So, or her, what is it called? 2-2 skill. 2-2A is a shield that she mostly protects herself. B and C both do the same thing, but A is shorter and farther, B is closer but bigger. You can use these as like a corner, so if you know corner combos with Weiss, you can make your own corner, or you can use it to block off your opponent. Down C is actually a counter. You can't really get anything out of this, but it is a really good tool to be using. So I have constantly attack. If I actually get it. Actually, it does pretty good damage, and it cannot get health after this. It's a really good counter move just to be using for. Now, since we go over all her skills, let's get into her distortions. Her close circle forward, A, B, and C is her, let's say, assist killer move, where she throws out a giant glacier. Does pretty good damage. It's one of her better distortions, as it doesn't have any startup time that I can really see that's significant to it. But if they throw out their assist, just throw it as fast as you can, and it does pretty good damage to the opponent and your assist. Her score to go back is her close range attack that actually isn't that much close range. If you're even a step farther than full screen, you can hit this. It does have a lot of startup time, but it does pretty good damage. Its score to go back in BC. It does less damage than the other specials, so I wouldn't recommend you doing this, especially since I have a lot more startup time. But it's still pretty good distortion. In Resonance Blaze, those moves are, you know, do more damage, and they are better. I don't see more damage into this move. It does pretty good damage, but not as much as others. This move also doesn't do as much more damage than others, but it still does more damage. Now that we've gone over her distortions, we can go see her astral. So let's get set. That was her astral. As you saw, I whiffed the first time because her astral actually has a fixed location where you need to be. It is not right in front of her, but it's not full screen. It is like a couple feet away from her. So just mind the fact, again, she's a poking character, so about where her sword just misses, you can, that's probably where you hit the astral. Something like right there, like here. It's exactly where it is. So exactly where her swords are ending her attacks, that's where you want to be doing it. To play Weiss, I'd rather have you guys have her in the point position, as she is better to start off the match, as she has more longer reach than most of the people in the game. As you see, her 5A hits directly from neutral position. I didn't move up, I didn't do anything. Right as the game starts, you're gonna whiff the other attacks, but just having a little poke in the game is gonna help you a lot, especially since damage scaling is so big in this game, and you can take damage really fast. Weiss is a setup character, and if you have her in the last position without any assist to cover her, or with her with low health, you're not gonna be able to set up as well as you could. Again, her assists aren't even the best in the game. She mostly relies on assist, except for people relying on her. If you see, as I showed you here, her projectile is not the best, and her recombo ability is not, partner assisting is not the best either. So if you have her in the point position, she'll be better off. Also, her combos don't do the best damage. If you wanted her with Resonance Blaze, you're not going to be doing that much. She doesn't have any moves that do tick damage, unless you do one of these, but then again, if you whiff the first hit, it's just going to go over the opponent's head, especially if they're crouching, since you jump up. The B version will whiff 2, and then the A version will only just do 1 hit. So she doesn't have that much tick damage with Resonance Blaze. She doesn't do the most damage in the game. Her projectiles are pretty bad, but she has a lot of poke and a lot of range, so what that she comes with. Also, with her glyphs, she's going to have to need her partners to set up. As you see, you can put 4 down. So you have a partner like Gordel, or let's even say a Yang, whose assist, if you hit last long enough for you to set up, then it'd be really good. So you having her in the point position will help you set up, and then once you set up, you can, I don't know, switch your opponent out and do something crazy. I don't know. But Weiss in the anchor position, especially if you have her last, you'll be off at a disadvantage that you can't set up as easily, and you also can't do as much damage. Also with Weiss, in my opinion, she's one of the weaker Ruby characters. If you thinking about playing the Ruby characters, there are better ones, as Ruby, in my opinion, is probably the best Ruby character. She's all around, she has everything. Then probably goes to Yang, then Blake, and then Weiss. Yang has armor, she does pretty good damage, and her projectile game isn't the best, but she has pretty good projectiles. And Blake in the mid ground is just going to destroy everyone. Half her moves are plus, she has a couple cross-up specials. Really good. I'll get into them in the next videos. I'm going to go through all the Ruby characters, but Weiss is probably the weakest one, as she needs so much practice. You can play as her, she's really good if you have the setup and you know how to play as her, but people who are just trying to pick up the game to play, or if you're just trying to play quickly or something, like not trying to get into the game expertly, you're not going to be like Weiss, as she doesn't have as much to give you. She mostly, in my opinion, has 1 or 2 bread and butter combos that are easy to do. Other than those, you're just gonna have to learn how to play her really hard. This is probably like the one combo every Weiss player knows how to do. That is one of the easiest Weiss combos to do. As you see, the damage, but there are better people who can do damage with that little hits. People like Ruby can do more damage with more little hits. Without further ado, thank you for watching. If you want to ask more questions, comment below and see what I'll try to answer your questions. Next, I'll be going to Blake Belladonna, and then I'll probably get into Yang Xiaolong, and then we'll probably go into the in-birth characters like I said before. But I'll see you guys later. Button Freak out.